Now let me introduce Peter King, whose role in Ronnie Scott's can't easily be explained, can't be or overestimated either. You are a partner, I suppose.
Yes,
that's the best way of saying it. Ronnie, great.
Oh, yes.
Who's your friend?
I thought you'd met 19 years ago.
Well, my memory's gone, Elaine, so I'll stop smoking that stuff.
Listen, now you're smiling. I want to ask something. Why do jazz musicians always look so somber and sad, while the audience always looks so happy?
That's a difficult one.
But it's true, isn't it?
It's concentration, you know, really. To be serious, I think that it's concentration, yeah.
Because I was watching your face, Peter.
Yeah.
And he could not stop smiling. And do you find that's true of the jazz
Well,
audience?
if he finds the music we play funny, it's simple as that.
Now, everybody expects me to ask that boring old question, why and how did it all begin 19 years ago? So why should I disappoint them? I'll ask that boring old question.
Well, you know, as far as I'm concerned, it began when I first went to New York in 1949, I think. Yeah, 49, I was 22. And in those days, New York was the place, the mecca for jazz musicians. I'd never been to America before, and all the young musicians that I was hanging around with at the time, we worshipped the American jazz musicians. They were our idols.
Yeah.
And to go to New York was a fantastic thing. So I went with a friend to New York, and the first thing we did, we dropped our bags in the hotel, and we took a taxi immediately to 52nd Street, which in those days was the place. There were 12 jazz clubs within a couple of blocks, you know. And the first club we went to was called the Three Deuces, which was a famous jazz club in those days. And I'll never forget just walking into this place, and I'd never seen anything like it. It was only small, but it was a fantastic atmosphere, and the music was marvelous. And I think this had a kind of lasting impression on me, you know. And I think that sowed the germ of the idea. So when I came back, there was always the idea of opening one day a place similar to that. And in 1959, we borrowed some money, and which we still owe, and opened in Gerrard Street. Simple as that. Bought some second-hand furniture and just opened.
Did people think you were crazy? Did they say there was no audience for real jazz anymore?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I had a bet with a guy that we'd last longer than 6. He said we wouldn't last 6 months. He bet me £50 we wouldn't last 6 months. He still owes me the £50, you know. And then more recently, when we moved here in '66 to these bigger premises, someone said, you won't last a year, and we're still here. And then about 2 years ago, somebody said, I'll give you another 18 months, and we're still here. So we must be doing something right.
Well, one of the right things you've done is the people you've presented. I think it would be easier to say who of the greats in the world of jazz has not appeared at Ronnie Scott's than to ask you to list all of them.
Yes.
You know, I mean, Ellington.
He never appeared. He was the only one that never appeared. Ray Ellington comes in a lot, but Duke Ellington never worked.
Basie?
Basie's worked here, yeah. That was fantastic. That was marvellous.
Who do you think has been, or is it cruel to ask, the greatest band or star that's appeared here in the world of jazz?
Well, I think opinions, I don't know, Pete would have his own opinions about that.
I enjoyed Basie very much, yeah.
Yeah, it's marvellous to hear.
It's very difficult to answer that question. There's so many appeared.
Yeah. But to hear a big band in here is really fan. I mean, it's nothing like hearing them in a concert hall. You know, it's really a fantastic sound.
How did you ever get Stan Kenton and his band on that
Oh,
platform?
there were 20 odd of them, yeah. Well, we got the band in, but we couldn't get any customers. But it was worth it.
What about the customers? Who are they? Are they a young group, do you think?
Very weird, very weird.
Weird people, like me, you mean, don't you?
Yeah, actually, this club to me is just like home. It's filthy and full of weirdos, but I like it. But the people vary enormously, Elaine. It's amazing. I mean, it depends on the artists that we've got in. You know, if we have an artist that'll appeal to the younger people, then a lot of young people come. And if it's someone like Ella Fitzgerald, Oscar Peterson, then you get more of a kind of an older show business type of crowd. It does vary enormously. But what is encouraging is that the percentage of young people is getting bigger and bigger. You know.
That's true, yeah.
But you see, I always think of the world of jazz as being a kind of isolated world, particularly for the people who play jazz. I often think they don't care about anything but their music.
Well, I mean, that's true. I mean, most of the jazz musicians I know are kind of dedicated, you know, and their main concern is playing. But the audience is very varied. You know, I mean, they're serious, a large percentage of serious jazz fans, but there are other people who come in because they think it's a thing to do, and they hear the music and they enjoy it and they come back. It's amazing.
You used to play, didn't you, Peter?
Yes, I was a saxophone player, yeah, many years ago.
We don't talk about that.
No, we don't. We try not to.
Did you actually play together?
Oh, yes, in lots
What
of
bands were you in? I know you were both professional. Did you actually play together in one band?
Yes, we played in all of Ronnie's bands, in Jack Parnell.
I think that's where we first got together, in Jack Parnell's
band.
Yeah.
Did you hate what you were doing then?
Oh,
I mean,
no.
well, to be honest, you weren't satisfied, or you would never have had this bizarre dream at the time of opening up your own jazz club, would you?
Oh, no, the bands that we were with were very good, but as Ronnie said
He's
earlier,
being very polite today.
No,
He won't pick a favourite star or
But
anything.
they were jazz-oriented,
yeah,
Yes.
very
the
much
bands
so.
we were with. You know, we never played in kind of really commercial kind of Victor Sylvester type bands. They were all bands that featured jazz a great deal.
But you see, what interests me is he gave something up. It's like a marriage, isn't it? He gave up his playing. Who decided that? Who said...
everyone that heard it. No, he was a very good player, really. I'm just kidding, you know. And he really gave up a lot to manage the club, you know. It was simple as that.
But when you hear the group going, don't you ever feel rather full of remorse and sadness about what you did give up?
Not exactly full of remorse. Yeah, I'm sorry to have had to give up, but I'm very close to the music by doing other things, records and all kinds of things, the organising of the club itself. So it's not as though I gave up playing to go and become a shoe salesman or something like that. I'm still very, very close.